So here we have a project on data analysis and innovation. What is data analysis? What sort of things are collected? So what kinds of data do people and companies collect? How is it collected? What ways are there now to collect data? How can it be used? So once we have all of this data, what do we use it for? And why is it all important? Why is all of this relevant in today's world? We'll start with the biggest question of what is data analysis? Well, if we're going to be just defining it, data is just a piece of information. Pretty much anything you can classify as data. An analysis is using logic and other methods to come up with a solution based on given information. Putting the two of those together with as data and analysis, you take information that you're given, data you collect, and then you use that data to come up with a solution or conclusion. What kind of data is collected? So what is it? I kind of see it as countable things and uncountable things. Countable things are like purchases. So when you purchase something, you purchase, say, a car, you buy groceries. Those are countable when you say if you bought a certain item. Obviously, a number of something. So if I buy, I don't know, 4 bags of Cheetos or whatnot, that's another piece of data. You're buying a number of something. Or if we're going to be more real world based, energy consumption. So your miles per gallon on your car, the amount of electricity you use at your home, things like that. Then we have uncountable things. So age you might think is something you can that is countable, but in reality, in the real world, age isn't really a countable thing. I mean, what's the difference between a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old? Most companies use age in terms of brackets. So people who are, say, 18 versus people who are 45, it's a big difference. Things like race and gender, well, I mean, you can't really count if someone's male or female. It's very much not something you're just going to count, but it is something that means something, and how you define it is at its core data analysis. And finally, employment. Whether you're employed or not, how much money you make would be a countable thing, but just being employed and what you're employed in is more uncountable. So how is data collected? It's kind of a before computers, after computers argument. Before computers, you had to physically give your information to somebody. You couldn't just go around and be like, oh, I want to collect all this data. You had to really do it by hand. So, for example, taking an exit poll or taking a survey. So when everyone's like, oh, can you go door to door and fill out this survey for me? Now with the computer age, it is immensely easier to collect data. When you click on a web page, when you open an app on your smartphone, when you purchase something online, that information is taken and gathered for you. Much easier now, because when you even just when you open your web browser, click on Google to search something, that information is taken by Google and used. If you put an app on your smartphone, all those permissions and stuff that they ask for, things like GPS location, can be gathered by various apps and be sent to companies who they could even sell that data. How can the data be used? For the most part, a lot of it's ad placement. So when you see that, oh, I'm really popular on Facebook. Maybe I should take an ad out on it, or I want to get a more youthful audience. Facebook is a really good tool for that. Visual representation. So if we take data and put it into charts, graphs, spreadsheets, it helps convince others that, oh, what we're doing is good, bad, etc. Or if you're, say, Verizon, who takes their 3G, 4G ads and make all those maps, things like that, which they can show to customers or show to their CEOs saying how we're doing. Things like that are very popular nowadays. And of course, social media campaigns. So all of those things where you take either ad out on Facebook, or if you do like a Twitter kind of thing, or if you have a hashtag, whatever, all that stuff can spread your market brand and promote what you're selling or what you're doing. Now, why is it important? Well, it's good to be aware, especially with apps on smartphones, of what kind of information are they collecting from you. It's also important to be aware of what information you're giving out when you do something, especially given this online age. Improvements, so from a company perspective, we can take and look at information gathered and try to improve ourselves as a company. And we use this data to come up with new ideas. So if you take a bunch of information that may not, but then come up with a new idea for it, say for example Google, a simple search engine, but now that Google is so popular, they can come up with different search algorithms, and they can even place certain websites ahead of others based on if you pay Google. And thus, even though Google's a simple search engine, it can make money and take the data it gathers other ways and input that into their own website. Now we'll look at a few other examples of data analysis. First with an interview, and then with using an actual spreadsheet.